For more than 100 years, this town existed for just one reason: oil. But now the company that built it is leaving, and over the next few years most of it will disappear. Today I travel to Norman Wells to discover what the future holds for one of Canada's most remarkable communities.
Well, good morning from beautiful Yellowknife in northern Canada, and today I'm off somewhere even cooler than this. So this is North Right Air here at Yellowknife Airport, and they offer flights all across the north of Canada to remote destinations, just the sorts of destinations that I like to go and visit, and today is no exception because I think that's my plane over there that's going to take me across to a tiny town of less than 700 people. Let's go and get checked in and see if we can get on board. Check it in, please, for Norman Wells.
Thank you.
Sit anywhere? Or?
Anywhere, yeah.
Perfect, thank you.
I took my seat at the back of the plane, and pretty soon we were taxiing out to take off on flight 1 of the day. After departing Yellowknife, we'd be following the Mackenzie River northbound, making a couple of stops at some of Canada's most remote communities before finally reaching Norman Wells. For many of the people living out there, these flights aren't a luxury, they're an essential lifeline, carrying everything from passengers and groceries to, in today's case, a box of donuts that I'd somehow become the honorary custodian of. Our first stop today would be Delinay, a small indigenous community of around 500 people on the shores of the Great Bear Lake.
Alrighty then, stop 1, Delinay. Dropping off a few people here, picking up a couple more and heading on next stop.
With the donuts still mostly safely accounted for, we continued north towards our second stop, Toledo. Home to around 500 people, this is another community where the aircraft arriving on the runway isn't just bringing in travellers, it's delivering an important connection to the outside world.
Kept some safe for you. I knew I had a purpose on this flight. Yeah, I can't guarantee they're all there. All right, welcome to Toledo, tiny village in remotest Canada. We've got to stop here for about 15 minutes so they let us get off and stretch our legs a little bit. I thought I'd come out and have a little look around. There's not a lot here. This is the terminal building and that's pretty much it. But it supports these people out here in the middle of nowhere. How cool is this? Wow. Anyway, better get back inside. I don't want them to leave me here in the middle of nowhere, otherwise it's probably a long wait for the next flight. Next week I think is the next one. we don't want to be risking that.
Just one short flight remained. Up ahead lay Norman Wells, a town of around 700 people that's been built around the oil industry for more than a century. But with production now in decline, many people are asking the same question: what does the future hold for a place like this? That was exactly what I'd come to find out. Welcome to Norman Wells.
Alrighty then, welcome to Norman Wells in Canada. This is probably the biggest terminal building we've seen all day today, and I'm dropped off here now. This is a town of less than 700 people up here in remote Northwest Territories, and it has over 8 flights a day. It doesn't sound a lot, but there's 700 people, which means that basically every 100 people get their own flight every day if you look at it that way. And that's just scheduled flights. There are a ton of charter flights that come in here, and we're going to go and explore the town and figure out why. There's clearly no taxis, no Ubers, no rental cars or anything like that up here in Norman Wells. So it's about an hour and a half's walk into town. And that's what we're doing now.
With a 3-mile walk ahead of me, I was just grateful that it wasn't raining.
You see, the only way in or out of Norman Wells is by plane. There's no roads out to this part of Canada at all. Now, one thing I have been told about here in Norman Wells is that there might not be that many people, but there are an awful lot of bears. So my 3-mile walk through the forest across to where I'm staying tonight is, well, apparently there is a bit of a rule to these things. You get black bears and brown bears, and it's something like, if it's black, lay on your back. If it's brown, stand your ground or something. I don't know. I don't know much about bears. The only time I've ever seen one was Paddington Bear, and the only thing he ever wanted was marmalade sandwiches. So I've been walking now for about an hour. Still got about another mile to go. I've literally seen nothing, just the odd ATV or pickup truck driving past. That's pretty much it. This is proper remote.
Honestly, it was hard not to notice just how isolated everything felt. But despite its remote location, there was a very specific reason anyone settled here in the first place.
Oil. See, this right here is the Mackenzie River that runs right past this town. And the banks of this river are absolutely seeping in oil. Now, the First Nations tribes people knew about this for absolutely generations, but in 1919, the Imperial Oil Company came along and drilled and found that actually they could extract quite a lot of the stuff from the banks of the Mackenzie. You see, Imperial run the entire energy infrastructure for the whole town of Norman Wells. All the power lines, all the power infrastructure here is all done by Imperial. And since Imperial came along and found that, the whole town sprung up just to support the oil industry in the area. People here work for Imperial Oil. They own companies that serve Imperial Oil. Imperial Oil serves all of the transport coming in and out of here. Imperial Oil is the very definition of a company town. Problem when you're relying on one company like that is that it can just go away. And without that, well, then what happens? Well, sadly, the people here in Norman Wells are about to find that out.
You see, earlier this year, Imperial announced that after more than a century in Norman Wells, it'd be winding down its operations here altogether. Over the next 2 decades, the company plans to remove most of the infrastructure it's built here, bringing an end to the industry that gave birth to the town. Which raises an enormous question. What happens to a community when the very reason it exists begins to disappear?
This is my home for the night then, my Airbnb if I could find my way in. Now, before I head out to explore what there is here in the bright lights of Norman Wells, I'd like to say a big thank you to this week's sponsor, Founders Card. Now, I've been a Founders Card member for more than 3 years now. The easiest way to describe it, it's a membership program that gives you VIP perks, travel benefits and preferred pricing, often better than what you'd find through credit card programs or third-party booking sites. Think of it like getting many of the perks of a premium travel credit card without needing the premium travel credit card. Now, for me, the biggest benefits are the travel perks. Lounge access is a big one, and after spending the last few days flying around northern Canada, that's come in really handy. I've also used Founders Card benefits with companies like Aero and Blade, as well as Clear, which helps speed up the airport security process. You also get automatic elite status with Hertz and hotel chains as well, without needing to meet the usual stay requirements, and savings of up to 70% at luxury hotels around the world. The fact that I've paid for Founders Card for over 3 years and renewed it twice should tell you everything you need to know about whether I think it's worthwhile. But if you'd like to try it for yourself, visit founderscard.com/NoelVIP and use my code NoelVIP. You'll be able to preview Founders Card for 6 months and explore more than 200 available benefits. If you decide it's right for you, you can upgrade to Elite within your first week for $295 and save $700. Right, let's go and explore the bright lights of Norman Wells. This is just behind where my Airbnb is, and would you look at this? It looks like a grass airstrip. It's probably maybe 3,000 feet long, quite well maintained, but still quite rutted. It's just weird that there's a completely long, thin grass strip cut out here in the middle of Norman Wells. And just over here is the Norman Wells Water Aerodrome, where they have all the float planes. And the fact that this is next door to it makes me wonder if this, in fact, is part of the aviation history of Norman Wells. Wow, look at these old vehicles here. These are all from when Norman Wells was being set up as an oil town all those years ago, and they're still here.
While I was walking, I bumped into Sue, who happens to own the Airbnb that I was staying in.
Oh, are you? Hi, nice to meet you.
Yeah, nice to meet you.
Thank you, yeah.
As it turned out, she also helps run Northright Airways with her husband, something that would come in handy later in the trip. One thing quickly became clear as I explored the town: aviation's always been just as important to Norman Wells as oil. Long before the roads reached this part of Canada, aircraft were the only practical way to move people, supplies and mail in and out of the community. So I was delighted to stumble across this tiny museum dedicated entirely to that history, packed with everything from salvaged aircraft parts to stories of the pilots who helped keep this remote town connected to the rest of the country.
This right here is incredible. This is a history of all of the airlines that have ever flown into Norman Wells, starting right up here with the Imperial Oil Company and their Junkers 13, the first ever aircraft in the Northwest Territory that came here. The first commercial airline started in 1929, all the way up to the modern day, as of when this was done, when it was Canadian North 737-300s, and now up here, well, it's Northwright Airways really. That's the kind of mainstay of flights in here every single day. So yeah, as it turns out then, this is actually a runway, but it's not abandoned, it's still in use. And when they bring the planes here for the summer season to put them on floats, they land them on here, including twin otters, by the way, huge things. They land them on here, taxi them down this little strip of grass here, right past those houses and out to the dock. Isn't this amazing? Got my noodles. It's pretty much all there is for me to eat because, well, there's no DoorDash or Uber Eats or anything out here in Norman Wells. There's 600 and something people living here. They don't do anything like that. How strange is it that I've booked literally the only place I could find in Norman Wells and ended up being at a place owned by the owners of Northwright Airways themselves? I've got to be at the airport for 8 and it's about an hour and 20 minutes walk that way, and hopefully not get eaten by bears. That's my only goal for this trip. Don't get eaten by a bear. I'll see you in the morning. Good night.
The next morning, I was quite pleased that I didn't need to risk getting eaten by a bear after all, as Sue, the Airbnb owner, and as I'd now found out part owner of Northwright Airways, came and gave me a lift to the airport.
Well, that was a little bit nicer than a 3-mile walk. Back at the airport here in Norman Wells, got my flight leaving in about an hour. Look at these things though, these are the fire bosses. They've had quite a few forest fires out here, it's a big issue. And these guys come out here and spray water on the fires and then come back and then go out and load up again. And that's kind of how it all works up here, and they're all waiting to start their day today. Anyway, I'm gonna go and start my day by going and getting checked in. Let's head inside.
While I waited to check in, Sue introduced me to Northwright Air's chief pilot and my pilot for today, Wayne.
Matt as well.
Hey, how are you? I'm Noel, nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you. How's things?
Good.
I'm very fortunate just because of my career. You know, I've been able to see a large part of the world. I can honestly say this is probably one of the last frontiers you're going to come across, like true wild frontiers. Like you go out 10 minutes that way toward, you're at a cell service, you're not going to come across any other people, wildlife is abundant, you know, there's no help, you're on your own, you know, so that's the way community used to be. We've lost it. We've lost it. So you go to the city, people walk by you, bump, go. You know, it's competitive. It's like who's first, me first. You know, here it's totally different. You know, a while when I came up here first full time, I used to be a rotational captain here, which was the best. I'd come up work and I'd go back to Vancouver. Anyway, but when I came up here as a full time in 2022. It took me a little, it was almost like detoxifying from, you know, the access to everything and, you know, instant stimulation if you need it. You really got to be able to appreciate what you have here, but be comfortable with yourself as well.
Yes.
Peter, Sue?
I'll see you later. Bye.
Great
Nice
time.
to meet you. Thank you.
Something Wayne said really stuck with me. When you first arrive in Norman Wells, it's easy to assume the story is all about oil. After all, without it, the town probably wouldn't even exist. But after spending a couple of days here, I realised that's only half the story. People may have originally come here because of the jobs, but many stayed here because of the life they found. A place where your neighbours know your name, where the pace of life slows down, where the wilderness is quite literally on your doorstep, and where aviation still connects a community that feels unlike almost anywhere else I've visited. Imperial's decision will undoubtedly change Norman Wells, there's just no getting away from that, but listening to people like Wayne and Sue, I just couldn't shake the feeling that what makes this place special was never just the oil. It was the people who built a community here over the last 100 years. But just when I thought my journey through Canada's north was over, it turned out we weren't quite finished yet. The last second go around was great fun for me and gave us a great little tour of Yellowknife as we circled back round to try again. This time we'd made it and we were safely back on the ground in Yellowknife.
You just wanted to try the other runway, didn't you?
Of course, yes.
Let's see how many you could get.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Thanks
add
very
it to my
much.
logbook. No problem. Anyways, no, take care.
Well, here we are then. We made it. Second time lucky back here to Yellowknife with Northright Airways. That's the first time I've ever had a go around after we've touched down on a commercial flight. Might have done it when I've been flying myself sometimes. Not that I bodge up landings at all. Nobody does that. But anyway, welcome back to Yellowknife. I'm going to head back to the Airbnb. In the meantime, thanks so much for watching. Take care, and I'll see you on the next one. Bye for now.